And there you have it. The markets are officially closed on this Wednesday, October 2nd. Welcome, investors and traders, to the Midweek Report. I'm AJ Monte, and we're starting off with the Bitcoin futures, because if you follow me on X, you'll know that yesterday, after hitting the downside target here that was set at 62,000, we hit that yesterday. And then I extended my downside target to $60,110. And today we got down to a low of $60,265. So we're $155 away from hitting that downside target. And then most likely I'm going to put a new price target, because I think we could bounce a little bit in what is known as an ABCD pattern. So we're coming out of a pivot lower from A here. If we pivot up either tomorrow or possibly on Friday, we'll see a B here, and then we'll see whether or not we pivot lower from C in that ABCD pattern. So keep an eye on my X page, because I do give updates after my targets are hit, and then I set expectations for the days or times when I'll be setting new targets. A lot of folks are trading against my Bitcoin forecasts in stocks that are related to Bitcoin. You have Coinbase, Riot, Ethereum, some of the stocks that are out there that people trade, and it's been working very well because I have a 100% hit rate on Bitcoin. With that said, I had a comment come up last Friday regarding the percentage of accuracy. If you're not a member, it's almost hard to believe that I'm tracking an 82% accuracy at this point, because you're not seeing the individual stocks that I analyze. Here's an example. Every Wednesday, I go out and we have the rapid fire stock analysis session, where our members submit to me stock symbols, and then I put targets out there. And after these targets hit, you can see column C here, I put a green colored cell once that target is hit. And after just 5 trading days, you can see already out of 50 stocks analyzed last week, 30% have already hit. Now, the markets have more or less plateaued over the last couple of weeks. So if I go back a little bit, you could see the results here. Out of 55 stocks that were analyzed the week before last, almost 31% have hit. And as time goes on, I'll just scroll back. I'm not going to take too much time on this. You can see that the week before that, 60 stocks were analyzed, and 43 of those have already hit at almost 72%. Now, I shoot for 70%, but we're winding up with over 80%, which is world-class right there. Now, at the risk of sounding like I'm boasting here, you have to understand my intentions are to teach you, the general public, how to read these charts and attain your own 70% target hit rate. It's not rocket science, but it will take some time. And if you follow me here on YouTube, you're going to get these lessons one bite at a time. If you're only watching my weekly market reports, then you're only getting the forecasts on the major market ETFs like DIA and IWM, QQQ, Spiders, and the VIX. And you can see that when I put a target out, I do have these diagonal lines that I put, you see, and then the most recent target is still open right here, which I'm keeping, by the way, at $411.32. And again, if you go back, you could see hit, downside and upside hit. I did a 2-part forecast, which again, something no one does. Downside target hit, upside target hit, downside target hit, upside and downside target hit, upside target hit from a couple of weeks ago. We're now waiting for the pullback in part 2 of that forecast. So that downside target is still in place at 411.32. If I go to IWM, you're going to see the same exact thing. Remember, you can go back and look at any YouTube channel or any YouTube segment, and you're going to see all these diagonal lines. Here's IWM, upside and downside target hit, downside, upside target hit, downside target took a little while, but it hit here. Put another downside target to reinforce that. That hit, 2-part down and up. We have a target hit on both those. Target hit, target hit, target hit, target hit, open target. You see? Again, it's hard. I understand there might be some skeptics out there, but I'm not out here to prove how right I am. I'm here to educate people on how valuable these charts are, not just for picking targets, but for risk management as well. So let's get back to the analysis here. IWM downside target, we're working our way slowly down to that level. We do have an A, B, B, C, C, D pattern. We are still stretching for a lower D than the pivot here at B. And so that downside target, I believe, is where D is going to wind up at 212.78. Look down below, the oscillators are still going lower. Now moving right along to QQQ, which basically is the Nasdaq or the tech sector here. And you could see, again, lots of targets in the back here, well over 80% targets hit here. This is still an open target. This one, I believe, is the next target to hit. That downside target for the Qs is 464.86. Now, one thing I want to mention before I go to SPY, you're probably paying very close attention to the news and what's happening in Ukraine, what's happening in Tel Aviv, and what's happening around the world. This Friday, I am going to have to talk about politics and how that could affect the markets moving forward. No matter who wins, we'll go with both scenarios. So stay tuned for that. Downside target on the Qs is 464.86. Look down below there, folks. That is a cross of the momentum line, the zero line on the CCI. Many of you know that that's my favorite oscillating index. You can see what happened the last time it crossed below the momentum line here, and again it crossed below the momentum line here. In those instances, we went down pretty hard in each one of those. So we are now officially crossed below the zero line. We'll have to see how that plays out. But again, my downside target's not moving there at 464.86. Now let's talk about the VIX. Look what's happening. We do have a close for 2 days in a row. We have a close over that 20-period moving average. That is a red candle, and we do have a hinge, almost a pivot on the CCI. So tomorrow we might see a little bit of a drop in the VIX, but I do believe it's going to stay over that 20-period moving average, as the moving average will now act as support. With that said, keeping my upside target here on the VIX at 26.68. As I mentioned earlier, Wednesday is our rapid fire stock analysis day. It's not too late to sign up for a 15-day free membership. And when I say free, I mean it. Absolutely free. You don't need a credit card or anything. Just contact us. You'll be enrolled. You'll be able to plug into these webinars and see with your own eyes how this works with regard to targets being set and how many targets hit. You could also mingle with the community. You could chat back and forth, have a good time. We have a great bunch of folks in our membership, and you'll absolutely enjoy that. So that is the midweek report. Thank you so much for your prayers and your thoughts. We're still going through the recovery process here in C to Key. Our prayers also go out to those up in Asheville and the Carolina area that's devastated, just like what we have, and maybe even worse. So stay strong, stay prayerful, and I'll talk to you on the next video. So long.